Hello there, internet peeps. It's your good buddy Rue, and introducing your new good buddy lilRuRu right here. He's 6.5, almost 7 months old, and the reason he's here is because about 18 months ago, when I found out that I was going to be a dad, one of my first thoughts, well, it's not my first thought, but throughout the entire term of the pregnancy and even since he's been born, one of the things I've been thinking very much about was how many comics did I have or could I go get that I'd be able to share with him before he became a teenager. You have your X-Men, your Teen Titans, all these other things that may be appropriate for a 10 to 11 to 12-year-old, but not really a 5 or a 6-year-old, at least in my opinion, and more importantly, in wife's opinion. Besides The Wizard of Oz and The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, Volume 1, I still haven't bought Volume 2 yet, I really couldn't think of anything to share with him as he's still what would be considered a kid. But luckily enough, looking at theouthousers.com, that's www.theouthousers.com, the greatest comic book website in the known universe. And also just looking around and talking to the comic book store people, it was really easy for me to find books that were entertaining for children and adults that were, and this is really the important part for me, books that wouldn't annoy me completely when I had to constantly reread them. So starting off with the sequel to Wizard of Oz, The Marvelous Land of Oz. Like I said, this is the second book of Baum's series, and this is where we find out what happens in Oz after Dorothy goes home. This story follows a young boy named Tip as he tries to escape his evil caretaker Mombi, and on the way to the Emerald City, which is now, of course, ruled by the Scarecrow, he runs afoul of a revolutionary army made completely of women. He brings to life a pumpkin-headed mannequin and a wooden sawhorse, and towards the end, he also discovers the truth about his own origin. And I mean no disrespect to the work of Baum or the adaptation skills of Eric Schanauer, whatever, Eric, when I say that the writing is actually very secondary in these Marvel books. It's secondary to the phenomenal work of the artist Scotty Young. And if you don't know Scotty Young, I don't even want to know what rock you've been living under. There is absolutely no page in this book where I didn't stop at least once to look at a panel, to look at just the penciling or anything, just because you can always see more of what Scotty Young is doing. You have to stop and marvel. No pun, actually 2 puns there by accident, neither of them intended, at what he can do with a pencil. In my opinion, these Oz books would not be nearly as fun and interesting without his work. Jean Francis Bolaño, and we can just pretend I pronounced that correctly, colors these books to perfection. Each location in Oz gets his own base color, and this adds not only to the visual aspect of the storytelling, but something that's neat to see just I'm hoping these are in the original books as well. For children, not only these simple and emotional stories are very, very easy to follow and will resonate with them, but the visuals of the book just show what's possible if you use your imagination to create art with paper, pens, pencils, and colors. Again, Marvelous Land of Oz, there's nothing I can say. There's not enough I can say about these books to spark young imaginations. Speaking of young imaginations, we have Axe Cop, Volume 1. This is the first collection from Dark Horse of the internet phenomena of Axe Cop, written by 5-year-old Malachi, I'm going to say Nicole, and drawn by his 29-year-old brother Ethan. You can read every Axe Cop strip online for free. But what you get with this collection is not only something that you can hold with a kid and point out and point to words and show him the art, but also there's also some really good annotations, another way to put it, director's commentary written by Ethan, in which he actually kind of explains how hard it is to work with a 5-year-old's temperament, their imagination, and just how he can take seemingly non-connected stories and fit them together to tell one cohesive, entertaining tale. These stories and characters are hilarious and heartfelt and are way too absurd to try to explain out of context. This book, Axe Cop, the strip, or if you buy the physical book, are for any kid and adult, as long as the adult can remember what it was like to be a kid. Hey, just forget all the laws of nature and physics, and just read these silly stories. Or one of the main characters, one of the characters is called Unibaby because it's a baby with a unicorn horn coming out. Unibaby, of course, or the best fairy ever. Axe Cop can be rather violent. It's very cartoonish violence, in my opinion. But before you get this for your kid, I'd recommend checking it out at axecop.com. As a parent, just looking at this before you buy it. Darkwing Duck, Volume 1, The Duck Knight Returns. For adults around my age who grew up in the early 90s, Darkwing Duck was the terror that flapped in the night that was an integral part of the Disney afternoon block of cartoons that included DuckTales, Tailspin, Rescue Rangers, and it really was, I can't remember my age group, these are the cartoons we went home to watch. I don't even know, like, is SpongeBob still on? Does that come on in the afternoon? It's kind of like that block of cartoons on Nickelodeon. In 2010, Boom Studios brought back Darkwing Duck as an ongoing, written by Ian Brill and drawn by James Silvani. And these two people obviously have a deep love for the cartoon and its characters. These comics read just like an old episode of the cartoon, keeping the same conversational tone, the very specific Disney art style. And honestly, as I was reading this, I could hear the old cartoon in my head. Each voice, each character was obviously inspired by the cartoon. Here's a really cool scene that I accidentally just opened up to. You can see the art, you can see the characters right down here, the old ones. Unfortunately, this comic was recently canceled because, as my e-friend Zex likes to put it, Disney doesn't want us to have nice things. But in its very short run, I think about 18 issues, Darkwing Duck told a complete and very well-rounded story that will entertain and captivate children, young and old alike. For the slightly older, pre-teenage group, maybe even going to teenagers, I recommend Takio and Return of the Dapper Men. Takio is is created by Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Omeg, the people who bring us Powers, and Olivia Bendis. Part of the reason I did pick this up was I wanted to see how the creators of Powers, one of the more mature adult books that is out there, would fare when it comes to PG-rated stories, and I was completely not disappointed. In this first volume, two sisters are given powers when the experiment of a friend's father explodes in his basement while they're visiting. Of course, and this is a graphic novel. This isn't a collection of comic books. It's an OGN. By the end of this volume, of course, the sisters defeat the bad guy, the father, who turns out, and this is completely surprising, turned out to be a mad scientist. And also, this sets up a continuity. It sets up the next volume with the daughter as the foil, as lack of a better phrase, the bad guy in future volumes that hopefully will come out soon. I really thoroughly enjoyed this book by myself, and the colors and everything, I think that as he gets older, he'll really, really like. Hello. You want to show everybody your trick? Hold on. Where's the baby? Where's the baby? And in the background, everybody can hear Thor. He's been absent recently in these clips, and I do apologize. Moving on, continuing with Return of the Dapper Men, is one of those rare books that will not only entertain everybody, but also you see more and you get more out of it. Yeah. The older you get. For the very young, even if they don't know how to read, just looking at this fantastic arc by Janet Leigh will tell a complete story. You can kind of tell who the protagonists and antagonists are, who's talking to who's saying what, without even really needing to look at the words. You can very simply get a feel for the story before even looking or before even being able to read. But as somebody gets older, the story becomes a very simple tale about the dangers of sloth and stagnation and the importance of growing up. Even if you don't want to, even if you think playing is the only thing that's important, you have to grow up to fix the things that are going on in your world. And even teenagers, adults, as it gets older, Jim McCann is able to include motifs and themes from classics like Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland without beating the reader over their head with what he's trying to say. This Return of the Dapper Man again, and I can't say enough about how simple and gorgeous and intricate this art is. As you get older, this book becomes many different things. Many different stories are being told with different morals, different lessons. And with as big as this is, I can't wait to sit at the dining room table with lilRuRu and just share this awesome piece of art. Well, that's it. Darkwing Duck, Takio, X-Cop, Return of the Dapper Man, and any of the Wizard of Oz books by Marvel. I think that the hardbacks are easier to read than the digest versions. I say that about anything, but there are paperback versions of the Oz books that are about this size. And everything here, except for the Return of the Dapper Man, I know is in trade paperback. And this might be, I just haven't seen it yet. That's it for this right now. Hopefully, if I have time, I can do another trade special here soon for adults. Everybody have a good one. Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, if I don't see you again. And later, peeps.